What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're back with Ironheart, Season 1, Episode 2. I promised I would break these down episode by episode so that we could talk about it individually instead of yelling at you about all 3 episodes simultaneously like literally everybody else is doing. Because it's a 3-episode drop, so why not? Because they're all kind of different episodes. Anyway, please click like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Join me on my journey here, my little cult where I go into things blind, literally, because I'm blind. Anyway, yeah, I'm a huge Marvel fan. I don't know that I said that the first time. I kind of did. I feel like I alluded to it. I was talking about sort of like the history of Ironheart and where Ironheart came from as a character, and there's so much internet backlash. There's so much internet backlash against everything. It's really hard to find perspective. Do I like everything that Marvel's done? No. No, I don't. I really hated the Eternals. I'm sorry. I thought that movie was a mess. And the Eternals just highlighted the fact that we live in a world where the cinematic universe is so big that you can't have these apocalyptic events and then just pretend like none of the other characters know what's going on. Like, none of the other Marvel superheroes anywhere know what's going on. And that's been sort of a problem with a lot of the movies now in late stage Marvel, is that whenever you have something that feels like this could end the world, it's like, why doesn't that send the, spidey senses of not just Spider-Man, but like other heroes running? You almost have to have these sort of low stakes neighborhood villains, which was what was so great about the Netflix series, because a lot of those people that they fought across those various series felt like localized. It felt like maybe the people that maybe they would only fight themselves or they would team up for. So like Jessica and Luke would fight that person, or Luke and the Punisher, or the Punisher and Daredevil, or you know what I'm saying? Like it was never like really like a heavy combination where it's like, oh my god, we're gonna need Doctor Strange for this one. But there are times where it's like, yeah, where are these people? And the Eternals really felt like that to me, where it was like, come on now. You're telling me everybody's just been hiding and nobody's noticed the Eternals, and then this whole big thing is happening, and we're all just, yeah, we're not sending any Avengers. Nobody go to this. Nobody help. So, anyway, Ironheart is, I keep seeing reactions. Most of them are negative, which I knew was going to happen because this show's been getting flack from concept, from stage of concept. What's the second episode about? So the second episode, Riri has just found out that she accidentally made her best friend the AI for her suit. I saw someone was complaining about that she made that suit really fast, and it's like, I mean, she kind of had a suit before, so if you've done something before, it kind of, it's easier to do it a second time. It's easier to put things back together that you've already done once. It's not like she invented the suit that she's never worn before, or like she's never worn a suit and did that in one night. So that would be my hot response to that is, sure, we moved a little quickly, but also it's not like she invented a nuclear bomb overnight. This is what she already did. She's already achieved this before. I guess we could have a montage. But I don't know. Would that have made you feel better? So yeah, her friend is now the Natalie, and they turn her name into an acronym, which is kind of ridiculous. I will say, I was like, oh, of course. Could you imagine the writer that had to come up with that? And it's like, wait, did you come up with the acronym first and then realize it made Natalie? Or was there somebody at a table who was like, okay, so we're going to do this, but we need it to be like Jarvis, but we have to come up with an acronym, but then it also has to be able to be a name. And then we can give that name to her best friend. Go. And they're like, oh, shit. and there's a writer that has to come up with that. It's kind of impressive, but at the same time, when you actually hear what she says, you're like, man, that's a lot. That is a lot. I don't know if I remember it, but it didn't do anything for me. But Natalie's fun, and it's so interesting because later on, so Natalie, I'm going to jump around and talk about the things I want to talk about because fuck it, there are like 1,000 people talking about this show right now. So Natalie doesn't get to go on the mission because Riri's kind of creeped out by Natalie. And so she ends up transferring Natalie out of the suit and into a laptop. But Natalie is bound and determined to find her way there. And eventually, because she's a projection, so she projects out of the suit. She's not actually physically there. Uh, Although I've heard some comments about how they shot it, and it's maybe looks a little bit less like a hologram and more like a person. But again, blind, I don't get to make those kind of comments. I get to acknowledge the fact that somebody else has said them, but I have no thoughts on that. The audio description on it was great and made it look like she was shimmering and glittery or whatever, like kind of like a hologram. So she ends up downstairs, which means her mom, Riri's mom, ends up seeing Natalie, and it's like shocking. And Natalie's like, "No, Riri made me on this." So she knows it's not like a ghost, which should have been funnier. But Natalie does kind of reveal what she is, which leads to a conversation later on where Riri's mom, when Riri comes back, is like, "I saw Natalie, that was amazing. Could you make Gary?" And I was like, man, I feel like these are the kind of things when you open the door, these are the paths that the writers didn't. I hope this is explored later on because we do so much now with AI and AI being the villain, and essentially Natalie is AI. And the things that Natalie does here are a bit of a stretch for an AI, but this is kind of, I mean, you could say that about like literally anything that has AI in it now. We're all like, what did AI do? Oh, it took over the world in an hour. It's Ethan Hunt who has faced all of the greatest villains. His greatest villain now is AI. So, um, who knows? James Bond's next villain might be AI. So it's just, it's everywhere. It's everybody's greatest villain. And I think it would have been interesting to see her figure out a way to create Gary, and I hope she does. And there's even that push and pull with like, what is Gary? What is this technology that Riri could use to create Gary, and how did she replicate it? Because it's interesting, it's not really the person, because it's all of your memories and it's your uh all of your thoughts about that shape this person. And what helps Natalie get shaped more is that she searches the internet for uh pictures and stuff in history about Natalie to help her feel more like the person, which reminded me very much of a Black Mirror episode where the AI kind of does the same thing. But at the end of the day, that's what that episode explored, was the need for people to do this. So Ironheart has inevitably hit on something really interesting that I don't know if they're going to do anything with it, which is the fact that in and of this, Riri has figured out how to do this technology to create AI, but it's AI that can be personalized. So for people who are grieving and who are going through a grieving process, like her mom could sit there and have conversations with Gary that she was never able to have because Gary was taken so suddenly. So it's a fucking brilliant idea that they just, I think, drop, which is kind of a shame, because in the meantime, we have to introduce Joe McGillicuddy. Oh my god, that is the fakest name ever. I want to like Ironheart so much, but even at least they address it. At least they're like, that name sounds fake. It does. It immediately sounds fake. It immediately sounds like, we don't want you to know who this person is. This is gonna be somebody else. And it's like, God, could you have at least tried? Could you have? I, if my neighbor was named Joe McGillicuddy, I'd be like, "Are you in witness protection?" That is, no one's actually named McGillicuddy, right? Isn't that like a Dr. Seuss character? Um, oh yeah, I live across the street from the Lorax. Have you guys met? He speaks for the trees. Yeah, I really don't like Alden Ehrenreich as an actor. I feel like everything he's done has just kind of been like, a large part, I'm just always so underwhelmed by him as an actor. Um, I just, maybe there's like one performance of his, maybe like Hail Caesar, where I was like, it was all right. But like when they put him as like Han Solo, I was like, what did you think? What about him screams Harrison Ford to you? Like, what about this guy screams Harrison Ford? And they had definitely some more charismatic actors there, and we keep trying to make Alden Ehrenreich happen, and now he's in Marvel TV shows, and it's like, just let him go. Please, just let him sail away. I want to see him, I want to see his career drop so he's on like the next NCIS spinoff or something, and it's just like, where'd he go? I don't know. He's on some show now. I don't know. Not Ironheart. He's not in the MCU. He's so boring, and he plays this character that, I don't know, lives in a nice neighborhood, um, and we're introduced to him through the fact that this woman lets her dog poop on his lawn, and then gives him all of these dumbass reasons for why her dog has to poop there and why she can't clean it up. And he just sort of non-confrontationally handles the whole thing, and then passive aggressively is going to go do something at the end. And I was like, I don't understand the point of any of this with your character, because we don't know who it is. At the end of the day, it'll make more sense. I go episode by episode, so I haven't seen 3 or 4, 5, 6, or however many episodes there are. So I don't know, maybe he's the flower man, flower power man. I don't know, but he is, I don't know who he is right now, so I don't care. He is collecting a lot of tech for some reason, which made me think, but I don't know why they wouldn't have used what's his name? Ty Cooper, something, like the boy that actually played the kid from Iron Man 3. I was like, that can't be him. They wouldn't have recast him because they brought him back for Endgame. He was at Tony Stark's funeral in Endgame. So I don't think this can't be him. This can't be him trying to hide. Um, and also that kid would have been actually trying to do something with the equipment, whereas this guy seems to be collecting it like he doesn't know what to do with it. So we do get kind of a comical sequence that I kind of hated and also thought was funny, because so far Ironheart is not trying to be like a deeply dark, like it's not trying to be this like super serious show. It's kind of light and fluffy, and it's aimed sort of, other than a couple of an occasional use of profanity, and the show seems to be aimed at kind of a younger audience. Like, let's bring people in, which is the whole purpose of Ironheart, was to try to bring younger people into comics, not people in my age group, which are the ones who are bitching the loudest about it. Ironheart, Amadeus Cho, Miles Morales, they were all created in the mid 2010s to kind of restart Marvel, and Kate Bishop and people like that. So, or early 2010s, whatever. I'm sorry if I got the dates wrong. I know they were all introduced at different times. Some of them may have been in the 2000s, and they eventually got to Ironheart, and okay. But yeah, they're sort of newer superheroes for the purposes of people not having to read an entire run of comics. But it was kind of silly to see her like putting her suit on a wagon and hauling it through Chicago. I was like, first of all, we already established the fact that she doesn't live in the greatest neighborhood of Chicago, as when she lived there before there was a drive-by. So she just is like walking around with really expensive, impressive technology, and there's a blanket over it. I don't know. It's just, I, don't, I have no idea what we're getting away with here. I'm surprised nobody thinks that she's like hauling a body, you know, even if we put something over it, it's like, what are you carrying? Um, so that was kind of silly. I liked more when she had, when she was like assembling herself in the first episode. I was like, why can't we do more of that? She's like, well, it's solar powered. And I'm like, is the sun not out in Chicago? Anyway, I was thinking about so many things about why does she have to haul it? Why is it not? I don't know. Anyway, so why can't she wear it like she wore it when she was leaving MIT? Is the question. So I want to help you, Ironheart. I really do. Like I'm anyway. So she has to go to McGillicuddy's. I'm never not gonna laugh. Please tell me who he is in the next episode so I can stop calling him this. Um, and I don't know, lightly blackmails him. She found out that he has all this stuff through the black market and some stuff that she needs for her suit or something. I don't know. And he like she doesn't really have anything on him. She doesn't have like a gun or a weapon. Her suit's not really functional. He's just like, all right, fine, I'll take you to it. And it's like, what is the why? I he's such a passive person. I can't wait for this guy to be the weirdest reveal in all of history. It's going to be like, I'm Sinestro, and I'm going to be like, no, you're not. Go away. Uh, so I don't know who this character is trying to be, but Casper, I don't know, is Casper the Friendly Ghost in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Um, it doesn't help the fact that it's Alden Ehrenreich, and I'm admitting I do not like Alden Ehrenreich as a character. I did not know he was in this. I was willing to fight to go to battle for Ironheart all the way, and then Alden Ehrenreich walks in here, and I'm like, fuck. God damn it. Anyway, so on the other end, we still got the crew, which we got introduced to in this overly elaborate Ocean's 11 sequence where Riri learns who the rest of the crew is. And I realized I know John. It's Manny Montana from Good Girls. That's where I knew him from. I was like, I know John. And I looked it up. I forgot in the last episode. So yeah, Anthony Ramos, Manny Montana. Still don't know who the drag queen is. Never going to remember that. I didn't watch every single season of Drag Race. So, and then the others who were there all serve some sort of like random purpose. And they're doing this heist on Tunnel. There's a company called Tunnel. I don't know. The debate on this has been that contracts made under duress are null and void. I think part of it is just the fact that like they're able to get to where they are anyway and reveal sort of the problems with the system, you know, the fact that they were able to hack it and everything. And this person, they're not given control of the company. They're just given jobs and stock options and stuff like that. It's like they're just given like a little bit of stock and some health care and stuff like that. It's a really low bar. It's been blown out of proportion unless they ask for something greater later. They don't ask for much from this tunnel lady in the heist. They're basically just like, can you give us health care and pensions? Like, okay. So, weird. It's kind of a weird take. This is also, I watched somebody who talked about all 3 episodes, and I think this is the conversation about white privilege that white privilege episode that Riri has with Alden Ehrenreich, and that was a nothing conversation, and I can't believe anybody's upset about that. It's just acknowledging the difference between those 2 people and how they grew up and where they are in society. And yeah, people are dragging Riri for being like ungrateful to her MIT scholarship. And I'm like, yes, because no hero has ever left college previously before or turned away, turned their nose down at school or walked away from a scholarship. Or if you're going to complain about something, make sure it's not something that another hero has done before, because then you just look like you're being incredibly specific for different reasons. So, much like the whole thing about her taking things that aren't hers, yeah, like Scott Lang again. So it's all about the arc, you know. The original Iron Man was selling weapons of war. We can't keep copying storylines, so we have to kind of cobble them together, and maybe they resemble things from other people, but you also don't want Riri's story to be exactly like Tony Stark's, because that's going to be too ridiculous. Um, Miles Morales has a little bit of a different origin story than Peter Parker. I mean, these people, they're a little bit different, but they're still sort of interesting enough to be able to push their story forward. But anyway, the cloak ends up, I guess it renders him invisible. Ironheart has to save the day, and she like holds up a thing, and Natalie comes into play. There's a little bit of a scuffle with a security guard, but Ramos, what's his Parker, shoots the security guard, but in the shoulder is what I got an audio description, which is like a non-fatal injury, most likely. So it was enough because, I mean, that security guard was like ready to shoot Ray Ray. This was not like a moment where the security guard was like just like bumbling in, like Paul Blart. This security guard was like, felt like he was like accidentally going to shoot her or something. He was so on edge. So, yeah, I didn't really feel like there was a strong pull for Parker to be the villain here. So it's possible Joe's the villain. It's possible they're both the villain. It's possible Riri's the villain. Ooh, anybody could be the villain now. I don't know. So yeah, I think it's still, overall, I still like the show. It has a couple of bumps that it's starting to hit along the way, but it's also introducing some interesting concepts that it could do something with that would be really interesting. It would be really interesting if she did make Gary, because while we have all of these different sort of things along the way, we're being shown, it's sort of like sleight of hand, right? So you have a guy with a cloak and scales, and he's getting tattooed over, and they're clearly stealing things, and they're doing things that are bad. And then you've got Joe McGillicuddy with the fakest name ever, who could reveal himself to be anything. And then you've got the mom who's making a really simple request to something that we've already seen that's played out, and it's played out pretty successfully. Natalie works mostly well. There was a little part where she glitched, but she didn't glitch in a negative way. She just didn't work for a minute. So there's no reason why Riri couldn't make Gary. And then it would be like, what if Gary ended up becoming the villain? What if there was a darker story that we didn't know about? So then you have your AI thing again, but you have it from a completely different perspective, where it's the closest comp that I can think of is an episode of Black Mirror. But in that episode, he wasn't the villain. So what if her memories of Gary are somehow tainted? So Gary isn't the same Gary, the way that Natalie comes across as Natalie. I think there's stuff that they could have explored here, and I hope they do. These are the important questions, and these are the kind of skill sets that Riri develops. And these are the kind of things that would bore people in a movie, but it's the kind of character study that works really well in a TV show. So do it, hopefully. Anyway, Maybe I should work for Marvel. I don't know. Because I would have immediately been like, somebody been like, we're casting Alden Ehrenreich, and I'd be like, no, we're not. This casting never works out well for anybody. Do you want to torpedo the show? Name a project with Alden Ehrenreich that like he was cast in and then it made like billions of box office. It's no, no. He's on the down. It's like trying to push Sam Worthington into the project or Taylor Kitsch or I mean some of those people. It's like we tried. Hollywood tried to make them happen. Jai Courtney. That the public said no. So yeah, at least Sam Worthington has Avatar that he's stuck in forever. So anyway, Ironheart, yeah, I'm still with it. I gave the first episode an A- just for relative purposes, mainly because I also look at things as a pilot episode, which is one of the reasons why I broke it down into different episodes. Pilots are different. You have to approach it differently to get people to watch successive episodes. And I thought the pilot did a decent job, except for the whole thing with Wakanda, which, yeah, I've heard people are like, well, why doesn't she go to Wakanda and address that? And it's like, that's a great question. I think one of the things that makes Riri interesting is that she is back in her own story and not continuing to be sort of just this tangent of Wakanda while not being a Wakandan. I think we needed to know more about who she was. I think one of the strengths about Riri right now is that we went home to Chicago with her mom and the backstory with Gary and with Natalie. I think that is her core right now, and I think we're trying to pull away from that a little bit, but I think that's what makes Riri, because that's what makes any superhero a superhero, is ultimately the people that they love and care about. It's not these other people. These other people come and go, and they're not like, it's not like it was established that she and John, when Manny Montana came and recruited her, were like longtime friends and that he also knew Natalie. So her core group is mom and two dead people, and you have to work that. It's not other people that she's just meeting for the first time. The heroes work because they have people that they care about around them, not because they are, uh, alone on an island and they just keep meeting new people and interacting with them. Every successful hero has a backstory and it's full of some sort of pain, but it's also generally has love in it too. And it's the love that they're able to pull from, like Iron Man with, I mean, his whole like host of people. You have Gwyneth Paltrow, Jon Favreau, Terrence Howard / Don Cheadle, Jarvis. So yeah, I mean, he had a core group around him the whole time, and that's what kind of powered him. And then he has the tragic backstory with his parents. So I mean, there's a story there, and they became such a huge part of that story. And Riri needs that. So the actress playing the mom needs more to do than ironing. She needs more to do than just, I don't know, whatever the hell she's doing right now. So giving her a Gary, whether Gary turned out to be a good or a bad thing, would be an amazing moment for the series, because it's something that Riri can actually do that would strengthen the story. Will we get it? I don't know. Right now, I'm going to go Ironheart season 1, episode 2. I'm gonna give it a B. Yeah, I feel like that's probably where I was a little bit like, oh God, Alden Ehrenreich, Jesus Christ. So there's a little bit of that in there too. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you guys tomorrow with episode 3. So